Woo! We are back. We was off last Sunday with the building, but we back with the building on this Sunday night. Appreciate everybody for coming into the building, and especially a special happy Mother's Day to all the madres out there. Big shout out to y'all, and we got a special show for the mothers out there. But before we get into it, let me give a shout out to the people that's coming to the building. You got Sexy Toy Lady, what's going on? A Real King 1983. You got Riz Lyricist, Unadulterated Truths in the building. Got Beautiful in the building. Who else we got? And looks like that's it for now. But again, I appreciate everybody for coming in. And I did see this comment by Riz Lyricist. Just to give people a fun fact, all those beats that was in that countdown, that's actually by a woman. It's actually by a woman. Called Sarah the Lyricist. That's her name. She makes fire beats, and when I was hearing her stuff, I definitely had to use it for the countdown. So big shout out to her. So everybody, tonight's program is going to be a special Mother's Day edition, and we are going to be celebrating the mothers here tonight. And today's topic is going to be, what was the best advice that your mother ever gave you? Now, when it comes to mothers, I understand there's going to be some certain circumstances for certain people out there. So I don't want any of y'all to feel left out when I mention mothers. So if for some odd reason you may not have the best relationship with your mother, and you don't want to use your mother, or you may not know who your mother is or where the case is, you can definitely use a replacement, whether it's your grandma, your auntie, your cousin, your sister, hell, could be even your own father. So I definitely don't want any of y'all to feel left out. So I definitely want you to join the conversation. Definitely want you to join the conversation as we discuss this here. So, not really to take too much of y'all time, I'll pretty much delve in to the best advice that my mom ever gave me. And once I do that, I'll go ahead and drop the link for anybody that wants to join in and kind of just tell us their experiences, and we can delve a little bit deeper. If anybody out there has children, maybe you could have shed this advice to your kids or where the case is. But when I was thinking about what was probably the best advice my mom gave me, I really couldn't just have it just be one piece of advice. Me personally, I actually have two of them, and they're very, very different. And these types of advices really helped me out through my adult life, especially. So the first piece of advice that my mom gave me that I think worked really well for me in my life was this quote right here. She told me, when you let a bird out the cage, it will either come back or not. If it doesn't come back, it was never meant to be. Now, I'm going to give you guys a backstory onto where all this came from. Now, this was back when I was in high school. I was a senior in high school, and a lot of us had the high school sweetheart, and I had my high school sweetheart as well. I was quote unquote in love with her back during that time. And it pretty much got to a point where our senior year was winding down. Um, she was going to a different college. I was going to a different college. And for her, she felt that it pretty much wasn't going to work out. So, me being the 18-year-old guy that I was, quote unquote, in love, I was heartbroken. I was saddened. And I went to my mom and I was explaining to my mom what was going on. And I was on some shit like, oh, mom, I got to get her back. I got to get her back, mom. I can't live without her. Again, y'all, I was only 18 when all this was going on. So it's just real funny looking back at it. And pretty much my mom pretty much just she told me that quote. When you let a bird out of the cage, you either come back or not. If it doesn't come back, it was never meant to be. And pretty much what she was trying to tell me is that, look, if it turns out somebody don't want to be with you, then let them go. There ain't no point in you trying to gravel and beg and all this other stuff like that. And once I really tried to put that in my head, and I was just like, okay, cool. like, and I told old girl, okay, fine, and I just left her alone. I didn't talk to her. I wasn't even trying to be friends with her or nothing. I was like, all right, full, all right, all right, cool, whatever. And then probably like the last few weeks of school, like we had this big dance at the fairgrounds and shit, and I was dancing with some few chicks, and all of a sudden, the same chick gonna try to come up to me trying to get my attention. I was like, yo, hold up, like I thought we was done. I thought we was done. Like, and then so I end up telling my mom the very next day on what happened. And the only thing my mom could tell me was like, see, I told you. So, but that piece of advice really helped me out a lot, in which if there's certain people that don't want you around or don't want to do business with you, it's really best just to let that be. And I pretty much apply that not just with relationships, but also with business. Very, very important. Very, very important with business. Very important with business. And that's a piece of advice I will give to y'all. The best thing to do is just to let that shit go, but also always leave the door open. Always let them know, hey, look, the door is always open. So that way, if it turns out if they felt they made a mistake or something didn't work out and they want to come back, you already let the door open and you can just go on from there. But that's just the first piece of advice that my mom gave me that really, really helped me out. Extremely helped me out. So, the last piece of advice that I want to talk about, and this was probably like the biggest impact on me, and this really helped me out, especially through college. And that was her telling me the Black experience will be your best experience. Now, this one's here was a little bit deeper for me, and it really, really made me appreciate when she gave me this advice because it really helped me out once I got to college. So, again, this was back my senior year in high school, and at that time, we're trying to figure out what colleges to go to. Now, with me growing up, I grew up around a very predominantly white surrounding. Now, with my parents, they grew up around a whole bunch of black folks and they worked their ass off to get to the point where they were to make me and my siblings have the best chance of progressing for ourselves. And, you know, uh just 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 depending on how you would look at it like that, we end up being around a predominantly white surroundings, and we was pretty much like that all through our life. Well, me and my siblings were. So with me growing up being surrounded by a whole bunch of white folks and not many black folks, there were some but not many. Pretty much in my mind, I heard about the racism back in the day and the slavery and stuff like that. But growing up until I was 18, I was under the impression that racism really wasn't much of a thing. I never heard of white supremacy. I never heard of any of that. And I want you guys to keep in mind this was back in 2006. This was way before the social media stuff, before the conscience community stuff was really booming on YouTube. This was before even YouTube was really booming like that. So for me, again, being surrounded by a predominantly white surrounding, I was in that mode that, hey, look, everybody loves everybody. I don't see color. I don't see this. I don't see that. So once it was time for me to figure out where I wanted to go to for school, one of the most popular schools, well, the three top schools that everybody wanted to go to around my area was East Carolina University. It was also Appalachian State, and it was UNC of Greensboro. Now, all three of these schools were predominantly white colleges. And so, with me trying to follow the crowd, I wanted to either go to any one of these schools, with ECU being my top choice. So, once my mom was trying to sit me down and ask me, hey, look, like, have you decided where you might want to go? And I told her, I was like, yeah, like I was really thinking about going to ECU. And at that time, like my mom really had to sit down with me, and my mom really had to break some shit down. And she was telling me, look, you're pretty much 18 and you're about to enter into a world where a lot of things are really just going to hit you in the face. And pretty much what I'm trying to tell you is that I think it's time for you to experience what it's really like to be around your own people. And I was just kind of like, around my own people, like, huh? What do you mean? And look, at that point in time, when me and my mom was talking, my mom did not hold any punches. She did not hold any punches. And she was basically saying, look, pretty much at the end of the day, you have to learn the Black experience. You have to learn what it's like to be around your own people. And she was saying the Black experience will be your best experience because you will see what it's like to see successful Black people sitting in front of your face, and it will really change your outlook on a whole lot of things. And she suggested to me to try out a historically Black college, and I end up choosing NCCU. And I was kind of nervous. I'm not going to sit here and lie, but y'all, when I tell y'all, being at a HBCU on that campus for 4 years, that was no doubt the best experience that I've ever fucking had. The best experience I ever had. And it was really a cultural shock to me. It really was a cultural shock to me because I was not used to seeing a whole bunch of successful Black folks around me. And it was just astonishing to me to see that. And it was like when I went on the HBCU campus, it was like the chancellor was Black, all the professors were Black, uh, the top executives were Black. It was like everything was Black. Everything was Black. And it was like whenever I saw some white folks there, I would just kind of be like, well, what y'all doing here? So, but yeah, definitely it really gave me my outlooks on life, especially with Black women. When I was 18, man, let me tell y'all, boy, and I told you when I was on that damn campus, boy, the amount of Black women that I saw on that fucking campus, man, look, if I ever saw a white woman or an Asian woman, I would just get turned off. I was like, look, need some queens. Where the queens at? Where the queens at? And I pretty much had that mentality ever since, boy, man. But yeah, definitely was a experience. And ever since then, I've been really, really delved deep into providing stuff for my own people. Whenever I need work done at my house of residence, or if I need to get my car fixed, the first person is always going to be a Black person. Always going to be, because I really wanted to just keep having that experience. And even with this YouTube shit now, I mean, just chilling with y'all and talking with y'all. I mean, it's a great experience to see a bunch of successful Black folks and talking with y'all. But yeah, man, but that was just another great experience that I had, though. Another great experience that I had. Let me go ahead and give a big shout out to some other people that came in. I saw some new people. Got Shock and Raw, saw Conscious Energy. Who else is here? Dr. Nikki, who's a Aggie. What's good, Dr. Nikki? Got Mikey, and we got Cher Whitty up in the house as well. So as far as did I relay this advice to my own children? Well, for those y'all who are not aware, I don't have kids and I don't plan on wanting to have kids, but I definitely relay this stuff to my younger cousins. I definitely relay this stuff to my friends, especially when it comes to the bird out of the cage scenario. I definitely laid that. Um, Definitely laid that to certain guys who's been going through breakups and relationships. I definitely laid that the bird out of a cage scenario, and that definitely does help. The Black experience, I definitely gave that advice to certain people who were kind of on the fence on where to go for school. And I definitely said, hey, look, like if there's any other option, if you can't think of anything else, go ahead and try HBCU just for the experience, because it definitely helped me out. It definitely helped me out. But that's that's pretty much the advice that I had from my mom. You know, I really appreciate my mom. Definitely was a big help in my life. But what I'm about to do, y'all, I'm about to go ahead and drop the link real quick for anybody that wants to come up to share their experiences on the best advice that they received from their mom. But if not, you know, I'll just go ahead and read the chat and we'll just go from there. So, y'all, I just dropped the link. But while we wait, should I play a song? Should I play a song? Hold on. Damn, I thought I had it on here. But but I pretty much just dropped the link, y'all. But while I wait, I'll go ahead and go to quick intermission. I'll go ahead and play Propane Oakling's I'm Lit song. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes. For anybody who wants to come up, the link's down.
I don't know what niggas talking about. I've been lit before social media. I'm the shit in real life. How about that?
Drop that beat.
Bitch, I'm lit. Bitch, I'm lit. Bitch, I'm lit. Can't nobody tell me shit. Bitch, I'm lit. Bitch, I'm lit. Bitch, I'm lit. Can't nobody tell me. You can't tell me shit because I'm still the shit in the pandemic. That's right, I'm still the shit in the pandemic. Yeah, I'm still the shit in the pandemic. Okay, I'm still the shit in the pandemic. Bitch, I'm still the shit in this pandemic. Your bitch giving head, she gon' need a minute. Act like Serena, but she far from playing tennis. I'm drinking Grey Goose, then I chase it down with Guinness. Bitch, I'm lit. I'm the shit. Been the shit before this YouTube, don't forget it. So drunk, passed out, I can't remember. Woke up next to two twins, Tia and Tamara. If a nigga talk slick, then I'm sliding. I don't vote, fuck Trump, fuck Biden. Everything I do, I'ma need it right. Bitch, I'm lit, that's why everybody Bitch, I'm lit. Bitch, I'm lit. Bitch, I'm lit. Can't nobody tell me shit. Bitch, I'm lit. Bitch, I'm lit. Bitch, I'm lit. Can't nobody tell me. You can't tell me shit because I'm still the shit in the pandemic. That's right, I'm still the shit in the pandemic. Yeah, I'm still the shit in the pandemic. Okay, I'm still the shit in the pandemic. Bitch, I'm still the shit and I'm still buzzing. Been the shit back then when you wasn't. Rubber grip, go boom, fuck a muzzle. Ball heads, extended clip filled with Russell. Been the shit, but I don't mean to bust your bubble. Bitch, I'm lit if you don't like it, nigga, fuck it. I come in peace, but I ain't ducking from no trouble. I kill you, nigga, then I go and hug your mother. Toucan got the G-bus burning rubber. Watching out for the police and undercover. I got the pump, but I ain't talking Cinderella. Let me tell it, I'm a bad mother, bad mother, bad mother. Bitch, I'm lit. Bitch, I'm lit. Bitch, I'm lit. Can't nobody tell me shit. Bitch, I'm lit. Bitch, I'm lit. Bitch, I'm lit. Bitch, I'm lit. Can't nobody tell me. You can't tell me shit because I'm still the shit in the pandemic. That's right, I'm still the shit in the pandemic. That's it, I'm still the shit in the pandemic. Okay, I'm still the shit in the pandemic.
All right, y'all. We back. I was looking through y'all comments, and we do have unadulterated truth backstage. But before I bring them up, I want to go over some of the comments. So we had Real King. He says, best advice my mother ever gave me was to be myself. One piece of advice that has worked for me 100% of the time. Big facts. Always got to be yourself. Always got to be yourself, especially as a black man. Always got to be yourself. Got Riz Lyricist. He said the best advice Mom Deuce gave was be ruthless to the world. So when it knocks you down, you get humble. You get up humble. She also taught me the law of attraction. Yep, exactly. Exactly. The road is yours. You got to be ruthless, especially when you're out there on your own. So y'all about to bring up all the adulterated truth. Yo, truth.
Yo, what's going on, bro? How you feel?
And chilling, man. We chilling.
Good, good. Peace to the chat as well. And a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in the sector. I know we
No
have
doubt.
some great women in the sector, and some we know are mothers, others we may not know that happen to be, but just being a positive woman and a positive role model is everything that a mother is supposed to be, whether you're actually a mother, but just a good feminine role model, female role model to the women, the young ladies that you come in contact with. It's definitely a good thing. Give me 1 second. Let me get this thing over here. Because I notice it's always strange when I'm looking to the other side of the cameras over here. Yeah. How's everything, LV?
It's good. It's good on my end.
Good,
It's good
good.
on
Glad
my
to
end.
hear. But yeah, this is always actually this is a generally for me Mother's Day because my mother passed in '99, and but her birthday always falls on the week of Mother's Day. Her birthday is May the 10th, so it's always one of those, you know what I mean, times a year where you just kind of reflect. I at least reflect on some of the things that that she taught me, and she was my main influence growing up. And one of the things that I want to share because for the people that don't know, I'm a writer, and my mother actually instilled that in me before before I didn't even realize what she was doing. You know, as a kid, I was like a little sports fanatic growing up. I was like the little neighborhood prodigy, basketball, baseball. I never really played organized football, but I was pretty good at sports, and that was my passion. So even as a young child, and I have two uncles that were professional fighters, so I always loved boxing as well. But even as a young child, my mother always wanted me to be well rounded. So as with probably most mothers here, you start your kids out with the little children's books and all that kind of stuff. So I had like a little shelf full of books, just kids books that my mother kept at my disposal. And but I always wanted to get out and play ball. So before I could get outside to play ball, I had to read a book. That was the criteria for getting outside. I had to read a book. And so I remember it was getting to the point where I was reading so fast just to get outside. One day my mother stopped me and she's like, "Look, if you can read this doggone fast, you need to be writing your own stuff." So the criteria got changed from reading to writing. So I had to write a story for my mother and my grandmother, a little short story, maybe 2, 3 pages. Had to be entertaining, had to make sense, obviously. And so that was something that she put in me at maybe about 6 years old. And so
Mm.
that was how I learned to write creatively. And it became something that it was a skill that was inculcated in me without me even realizing it, and it just became a part of who I was. So I was pretty good with creative writing all throughout school. But years later, when I started learning how to write screenplays, it came naturally to me. Once I learned the format, it just came to me, and I didn't realize till later on that all of this was really because of what my mother put in me. Without me even realizing it, she just made it a part of who I was as about a 5 or 6 year old. And so years later, you know, and writing, be in this one particular instance, being in a movie theater, watching a movie that I had written, and watching my own work on the screen, being in meetings in Hollywood, and I remember reflecting that you know a lot of the things that I was able to experience, I really owed to my mother as a result of a mindset to achieve more than what you even think you're capable of achieving, and to to always understand that you belong wherever your mind tells you you belong. Never to look at anyone as being above you, and so little subtle things, and a work ethic and things that she put in me that I've always been grateful for, and I made those things a part of what I shared with my sons as they grew up as well. So just
Mm.
wanted to share that with the sector. And again, shout out to the ladies that I'm sure are doing those same things for their children as well.
Wow. Now, ain't that something? Where when you was a kid, like you was basically just writing things because your mom told you to, but little did you know later on down the line that stuff
Exactly.
become, man,
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Wow. So when it comes to that point, when you was doing that writing,
Mhm.
have you ever asked your mom, or has your mom told you that she kind of did that as a way, I guess to give out creative,
To
gets
be honest
gives
with you, I don't even think that she realized. I don't say. I wouldn't say that she did it with the intent of it actually leading me to where it led me. She just wanted me to be a well-rounded human being. We were
mm,
fortunate enough to grow up in, a diverse community. You know, I went to magnet schools, and so I was able to meet a great cross section of people as I grew up. And you learn to get along with people from various socioeconomic backgrounds, be able to communicate with people. You know, um, some of the people that have been in the sector long, well enough or long enough, know that I worked in the stock market for a number of years. So even though I was working with people who were multi millionaires, I never looked at myself as being beneath them. And when you command a certain respect yourself, they, in most cases, they're going to give you that respect. So I still have some great relationships, some great rapport with people from my years working in the stock market. And then once I moved into, the writing industry or movie industry, as it were, um, I was able to make, uh, a fairly good living with that, make myself comfortable, and am still working on some projects now. But again, I owe that all to some of the things that my mother put in me and some of the things that she exposed me to, both in home, traveling, becoming acclimated, and learning to understand and accept different cultures, and knowing that the world wasn't just limited to our upbringing in West Philly, or so I think that mindset and those different lessons have served me well. At least I'm grateful for them. So as I said, those are the things that I reflect on in and around Mother's Day, on and around Mother's Day. So
man, that's what's up. So like as far as you being a writer, as far as you being a writer, what would you say would be the hardest part about being a writer?
um, probably just the patience that it takes, because you can when I come up with an idea, my mind works fairly quickly when it comes to putting things together. But when it comes, especially for a movie, there's so many other pieces that have to come into place. You know what I mean? And that process can get to be a little bit frustrating. So you have to, I guess, in a sense, develop patience with that. Um, but in terms of just writing, just having the focus and discipline that it takes to sit down and put something together from start to finish. Once I learned the I guess the formula that people in the studios and production companies, what they expect to see. Once I learned that, then it was really just a matter of, because the ideas come fairly easily, but just putting it in the format in which they want to see it, that really was what uh, you know just took a little time to kind of get a grasp of. But for after that, it really is the focus that it takes to put something together that's going to flow. Because when you turn something into a production company, as I said, there's so many people that are going to read it, and everyone's looking at it through a critical lens. They're looking for reasons not to spend the money that it takes to make something. So you don't want them to have a reason to put your story down. So you have to make it as entertaining as possible every step of the way. So just looking at it not only from what you want to see, but from what a broader audience or people looking through a critical eye are looking for. You know what I mean? As well, having that understanding. So.
Now, like there was something you said earlier, and you have mentioned the unfortunate passing of your mom, and just first and foremost, my condolence to you, brother. I pretty much
Oh, thank you.
know how it
Appreciate
is
that.
to lose a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I pretty much know how it is to lose a parent. Like I lost my dad back in 2010, so I definitely know
Yeah,
how it
yeah.
is. But the reason why I brought that up is that like today is Mother's Day, and there may be somebody out there that's watching this now that may that may have lost their mom. And usually when Mother's Day comes, there may be a lot of emotions going through that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the question I want to ask for you is, for the people out there watching that may be in that situation, are there any types of tips, or or any types of advice of somebody that may be going through that right now?
um. Hmm. Uh, my advice would be to reflect on the uh, the good things, the good experiences, and in most cases, the um, the legacy of love that most mothers attempt to leave with their children. I mean, to embrace those great memories, um, and to be intent on passing those memories on to their children. Um, I lost my mother under a crazy, crazy set of circumstances. You know, um, hmm, uh, I'm not sure if I want to even get into that.
No, you don't
But
have to. You don't have to.
yeah, it was wild. It was probably as wild as anything you could ever hear. Um, and it took a while for me to digest it. What I'll say is that, um, believe it or not, my brother was largely responsible for my mother's death, and it was uh, it was a really sad set of circumstances. And and my brother and I lived in the same household at the time. My mother had a stroke, and so a situation happened where, through my brother's neglect, and I would even use the word abuse, actually, since just in the interest of being honest. Um, but I was very, very resentful, as you could probably imagine, for a long time. I used to literally have dreams about killing my brother, and it just took a lot of strength to keep from. I probably should have sought therapy for it, to be honest with you. And I had some, I guess, very mixed feelings about what would ever happen if my brother was ever in a situation where he needed me. And ironically enough, that situation did arise. But I couldn't bring myself to, I guess, enact the feelings, or be as callous as I had imagined that I would be. You know, um, but I'll leave that story where it is. But what I will, again, just go back to is, you know, reflect on the great memories that you have, if you know what I mean, and you use this time as moments to reflect on the good things that your mother, good experiences that you've been left with. So
Right. I definitely definitely agree with that. Like you always just got to reflect. And um and and when it comes to death of my dad, like I've always been told, don't look at Father's Day or my dad's birthday as a day of mourning, but look at
Hmm.
as it a day of celebration.
For sure.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, like you always got to just, like it's pretty much like you said, you always got to look back on the good times. And I know, and I pretty much know that at one point in time, like with my mom, she ain't gonna be here no more. And
Yeah. Yeah.
like and that's just something I just got to know that will happen. Now
Hmm.
as far as all that goes, it's like I said, when it comes to my mom, she's been there for me, gave me a whole bunch of great advice. She busted her ass to,
Hmm. Yeah.
to
Exactly.
get me, to get me to where I'm at. She had to sacrifice a lot of shit. She had to
Hmm.
sacrifice a lot of
Yep.
shit just so for me and my siblings not to even experience what it's like to have the lights off or where the case is.
Yeah.
And like I remember, I pretty much remember when I talked to my mom years later. I mean, like the stuff she would tell me, like how she would have to work just two or three jobs after my parents' divorce. And I
Hmm.
was just like, damn, for real. She was like, yeah,
Yeah.
like I really, like, I had to keep these lights on because I don't want y'all to experience that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's crazy, man. But that really shows, that my mom's a damn G, man.
Yeah.
She
And
she a
and
G.
for those fortunate enough to still have their mothers, just enjoy and those times, cherish the times that you do have. I have a really good friend of mine that I grew up with from childhood, and he was actually estranged from his parents for the better part of I guess about 10 years or so, something like that. And we grew up in the same neighborhood, and it's crazy because we kind initially we I guess at a first glance we kind of look alike. I'm a little bit taller than he is, but I remember I had gone from went back to Philly to visit, and by at that particular point, he hadn't spoken with them in maybe about 7 years or so. And I have been trying to get him like, bro, you need to really get this situation straightened out because once they're gone, they're gone. You know what I mean? And so their house is usually like one of the first stops I make when I go to Philly. And I went in, and when I went through the front door, his mom was in the kitchen, and I knew that at a first glance, I saw the way she looked at me, and I could see in her eyes she thought it was her son coming in the door, and not me. She thought it was her son at first glance because they didn't know I was coming in town, and I could see her response, and when she realized who it was, her expression changed slightly. Of course, she was glad to see me, but I'm certain it would have meant so much more to her for her to be able to reconnect with her son. And I'm happy that since then they have reconnected, you know, but he let 10 years of time go by over something. I wouldn't call it minute, but nothing to me, nothing is big enough to come between yourself and your mother. And he's in the process of gaining that time back. But again, for those who do still have their parents, you know what I mean, especially their mother, cherish that time, and just make sure that you make the best of it, and and just enjoy it as best they can. So
Yep, exactly. Like the words you just said, you pretty much gotta cherish it,
yeah,
because
yeah.
like I said, when my mom, she's still here, but when my dad, he ain't here.
Hmm.
And as far as the story you was telling, truth, it really reminded me of kind of the relationship that me and my father had, where it
Hmm.
was really estranged. And like the best way I can really put it at, like with my dad, at one point in time, he was facing a lot of demons at the time, so it was really estranged
Hmm.
at that point in time. And then I remember, I just got that phone call, that my dad was
Yeah.
in the hospital. He was under cardiac arrest. We
Hmm.
all went to the hospital. Like I never really had good
Hmm.
last conversation, you
Yeah, yeah.
know, like, and that just really just hit me. So, like, yeah, like it's pretty much definitely with some people where they may be going through certain things, whether
Hmm.
it's with their dad or their mom, but especially with their mom, like it's just very important to cherish that. It's very
Yeah,
important to cherish that in whatever way that you can.
yeah, yeah.
Now, if it turns out if there's no way of doing that,
Hmm.
again, that's completely understandable. And that's why with this stream, like I didn't want nobody to feel left out. So if it turned out if your grandma is your mom, your auntie, whoever else, I mean, if that's the case, then cherish that. But
Exactly.
you just got to cherish it the best way that you
Yeah.
can. Um, but that does lead me to another question,
Hmm.
Truth. And I don't know, I don't know too much about your personal life like that. Um if it turns out if I'm saying too much, let me know.
Hmm.
But but at one point in time you had an ex-wife,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
and then and then y'all had kids together with your ex-wife.
My kids were born when I was much younger, but I got married. Let me see, in 2005, many years later. My ex-wife and I, well, she's a really really cool person, a very very intelligent woman, and we did some really good things together. She was she I met her in Philly. She was a professional dancer. She danced with Alvin Ailey Dance Troupe, and then after she retired from actively dancing, she wanted to create a dance troupe of her own, and so we built that pretty much from scratch, and it was very very successful for a long. No, I wouldn't call it a long period of time, but enough to do some great things and affect the lives of some really really beautiful young ladies in Compton, and I'm very proud of what we were able to do. Unfortunately, with the circumstance of the marriage itself, that went a different way. But we did some great things together, and I'm still very proud of those things. So
Right. N- now now me asking that question, and no Riz lyricist, I ain't sneak doxing. but but the only reason why I asked that question was that so with your opinion, what's your opinion on stepmothers?
um, it's funny, we delved into that conversation slightly a little bit last night, but I think you know again, positive influence in children's lives come in different forms. Whether it's obviously your parents, you want them to be positive influences. Step parents, uh, you know, um, can develop great relationships with children, um, and so I think, and I guess they have that saying, "It takes a village to raise a child." And in modern times, sometimes part of that village, they, historically we think of neighbors and extended family, but in modern times that could be stepfathers, stepmothers, etc. So, many people come in and out of a child's life through the course of time. As long as those people are positive and have the child's best interests at heart, that's the important thing. Regardless of whatever the label it is that you put on them.
I agree. I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that. Like I would say like stepmoms are definitely one of the greatest gifts to to a child because like I know there's certain people that have different types of opinions, but personally in my opinion, especially when it comes to the black family, there has to be a man and a woman in the house. And if
Yeah.
it turns out if one person is not there for whatever reason,
Hmm.
for whichever reason, the fact that somebody is able to step up to that plate to have that child look at a man and a woman working together, being there, raising them, it really helps out that development of that child to see
Yeah.
something like that. So once they begin to grow, they can say to themselves, okay, I want my relationship or my marriage or my future children to be like that.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
like it's just unfortunately, you know, sometimes there's these single parent households, and like, especially when it's the single mother, whether it's with the boy,
Hmm.
they may become the man of the house, and they don't know what it's like, and then so they're going to be even more protective of
Hmm.
their mom. Or
Yeah.
if it's
Yeah.
with a little girl, and they look at the mom just busting their ass and thinking to themselves, oh, okay, well, like, I guess I don't need no man, this is how it is.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
like, that's, so yeah, I would give a big shout out to all the step parents, especially to the
Sure.
stepmoms
Yeah.
on this Mother's Day. Big
Yeah.
shout out to them. Big shout out to them.
Yeah. It's
Definitely
like
big.
you said, like you said, they can play a huge role, and as long as the positivity is there, and in the case of single mothers that are raising children, we and especially as you're saying, knowing uh, firsthand what it takes for mothers to do what it takes, to raise young boys, um, and some again, sometimes there's additional help. Like I said, I grew up with sports, so I had a lot of positive. My two uncles, and then as it relates to coaches and those sorts of things. But if in the best of circumstances, nothing would really take the place of a father, a mother and father being in the home. That's the best case scenario, if that's possible. And I think children generally turn out best under those circumstances. So
Right, most definitely. Well, truth, I do have one more question
okay.
for you before I go ahead and wrap this up. So,
Mhm.
since today is Mother's Day, what you end up doing for your wife?
We have actually we are planning something. We went out yesterday, and but we're planning. I have some vacation time, so we're actually going to do our celebrating next week. So we have something nice planned, and so I did dinner yesterday. We went out during the day for a little bit, and then I did dinner, and of course I caught a little bit of a couple of live streams as I was able to. But we got something special planned for next week. And time the timing just worked out so that we had to set it up for next week. But we're definitely going to do something. So yeah.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. But as far as myself go, like, I always try to get stuff done in the morning,
Hmm.
because I'm definitely a morning person. But I am pretty thankful that my mom doesn't really like the going out thing as much
Hmm.
as she used to back in the
Yeah, my
day.
wife
So
actually doesn't really like it much either, to be honest with you. She
yeah,
prefers to be at home, but sometimes you just gotta, hey, we're just going to do such and such, and so yeah. But you
yeah,
said you got off to an early start this morning.
yeah. So I was able to do that. Like, I ended up having having me and my lady. We went to my mom's house. We chatted with her for a little bit. Gave her a little Amazon gift card, because boy man, like, the the day Amazon popped off, man, she would not stop getting on that damn website. She would keep ordering stuff.
Oh,
Like, it seems like it pretty much seems like every time I go to her house, there's always an Amazon package. Always Amazon. I
mhm.
was like, damn, like,
It can be
you know,
addictive, man. I guess the
yeah,
anticipation, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah. So I definitely
definitely,
understand. That's cool
definitely,
though. That's really cool.
definitely addicting. Like, I pretty much went through my Amazon phase way back
Mm-hmm.
then. So I definitely know what you're talking about. But we was able to get that done. Now 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 the hard part with my lady mom. And
Mm-hmm.
she
Okay.
like she wanna go out, she wanna do all this and that. So but we was able to get all that done. Just got back at the house around
Okay.
just 2 hours ago. There's still some company over. I thought they left already, but I still hear
Okay.
them downstairs. But yeah, man, I was able to get that done, able to do this live stream on time. But here
Mm-hmm.
we are, man. But all that being said, truth, man, I definitely appreciate you coming on, sharing your
All right.
experiences.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you for having me, bro.
definitely, no doubt, definitely always a pleasure to have you on. You're always welcome back here anytime, bro.
Appreciate it as always. I'll holler at you later on, and peace to the chat as well. Okay.
All right, then.
All right, bro. Later.
All right, guys. So that being said, this was another really great live stream. Always definitely appreciate having On the Delaware the Truth on the show. He always has some great insights. I've been knowing Truth since I saw him on the Don stuff. Ever since the Don M situation come up, I believe that was the first time I ever saw him on any type of live streams. Then he started going on ghost panels all the time. He came on my panel a few times as well. So definitely love his perspective on a lot of things here. But anyways, y'all about to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, big shout out to all the moms out there. Big shout out to all y'all, whether you're a mom, stepmom, auntie, grandma, it really don't matter. Big shout out to y'all. And do not forget, we are going to do another live stream tomorrow with Sexy Toy Lady. Going to be talking about the affiliated marketing process and her experiences. Appreciate everybody for coming in. And with that, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow night.